Brad, Jack of all ventures, and I'm going to continue a little bit on my divorce story. Not exactly sure which direction it's going to go at this point, but I can tell you I am currently letting my Tesla drive me to Wake Park VA Medical Facility in Cleveland so I can have my eyes checked up because I have post-late-stage, which, as a side note, you can't always believe what professionals tell you. You can't trust your divorce attorneys. You can't trust your opponent's divorce attorneys. You can't trust these professionals. You also can't trust professional eye surgeons who are pushing LASIKs. There's a lot of statistics that if you dig for, I am an example of one that, I was told that there's like 1 in 10,000 or maybe 1 in 100,000 chance of something going wrong. Well, the numbers are way lower than that. They're all debatable, but it's really like 1 in 1,000 for like a serious complication. And minor complications, some people say it's 100%. But just beware if you're considering LASIKs. I believe that there's several success stories, but there's also many people that really regret it, and I am one of them. I can only wear scleral contact lenses to correct my vision. I can't wear glasses. Simple side tangent is there's pressure inside your eye, and if your cornea gets shaved too thin, it bulges your cornea like a weak spot on a balloon, and it bubbles out. So glasses can't correct your vision and get the light to come through your eye straight. So fortunately, there are expensive contact lenses that can help the situation. However, can't wear those 24/7 or 16/7, your waking hours. So I end up spending a significant amount of my time legally blind. And if you watch a lot of my other videos or some of my other videos, you'll see that I've learned to go running with some very, very, very poor vision and cross streets and everything else, something I never thought I'd be able to do. So I don't know. A lot of people have a lot of stress and whatever when they get the problems with their eye conditions. And believe me, my eye condition is pale, small problem compared to, I don't know why I didn't let my car try this. Just made a right-hand turn on auto, and I took autopilot off. Autopilot is getting so much better. I guess really, so far this hasn't been much my divorce story. A couple of the other little things I do on my channel and stuff, like when I say that Jack of all ventures, there's a bunch of different things that I'm into. Some of them not by choice. That being the LASIK problem, definitely not by choice. Tesla autopilot, definitely by choice. It's been really fun to watch the technology move along. And anybody who wants to give me too much crap, you got to realize I'm actually paying attention to what's going on down the road while I do this. And there's a guy in New York City that drives a taxi cab and runs a game show while he's driving through New York City. So, and for the most part, the car does a pretty good job. We just went through yellow lights, stopping here at a red light. 1.2 miles, it's going to have to make a left turn. So anyways, as far as my divorce story, I kind of want to shift some gears and talk about what happened a couple years ago, and why I feel the lawyers are the real problem here. I have a lot of respect for my wife. I still do. And it's kind of a weird thing. It's like, that's something you're not going to hear a lot of people say on their divorce stories, because, we were having a couple difficult years or whatever. I still wanted to keep on working on it. Maybe I have more endurance. Maybe I have more respect for marriage. Everybody's got their different breaking point. And some people, which I just started reading this one book, The Shit About Divorce or something like that. And the woman in that book that, she's divorcing her wife, by the way, too, which maybe that's a clue. But her breaking point makes me realize that maybe my wife should have left me a long time ago, because I really hope anyone that considers dating her in the future reads her book and realizes that stay away from her because she's a problem. I would not want to be in a committed relationship with somebody that's willing to get so bent out of shape over such really small stuff. I mean, anyways, our problems were, we had some compatibility issues going into considering our divorce, and unfortunately, I'm going to say we decided we were going to mostly split up, and a friend told me about this book called Too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay, about relationship ambivalence, and I think it was almost our best marriage counseling book, because we tried marriage counseling and stuff a little bit, and a lot of marriage counseling is crap too. Anytime, if there's nothing else I'm learning through this whole process, is whenever you got to hire a professional to help you, like an eye surgeon, an accountant, you got to vet them really well and make sure there's somebody that's actually qualified to help you before you turn over something that you can't handle doing yourself to somebody else, and make sure they're going to be able to do a good enough job, because I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit hard to please, but I don't think hardly any of the professionals in my life recently have actually helped me, which is maybe some of my personal problems in life. Even if you just look back at my little over a year ago Tesla problem, the only real problem I've ever had with my Tesla is the car wouldn't charge, and it turns out it was just a key fob, and the Tesla technicians had my car for 3 days, charged me $4,000, and didn't put and put in some very expensive parts that were not needed. And I don't know why this car just changed over in the right lane when we got to make a left turn in 0.2 of a mile, but it's safely driving, and it's not doing anything too bad. So that was and I had to solve that problem because of sweet tea and unsweet dispenser. It's a crazy story. You can look that one up if you're interested. But I don't know. So we were kind of having like these mini relationship summits that probably could have been done a little bit better. At least I felt they could have been done better in hindsight. But we were doing the best we could at the time. Had one set for June 1st, almost 2 years ago. A year and 3/4 ago, and she decided that she wanted to break up, and I decided I didn't want to fight her anymore. So I thought it was really done fairly well. I didn't think that we would end up in this mess, and throughout the summer, there's a lot of stuff I would take back. I think what she was really doing when she said she wanted to break up and that time is she wanted to let me know she was serious, and she had some real concerns that I needed to take seriously. And I probably, I don't know when at the point you got to realize you did something wrong. And quite honestly, I don't necessarily think that us breaking up might have been the wrong thing to do. And that's why everything gets really hard and difficult. Because I already forget whether I mentioned the book we should have been listening to at that point is called Conscious Uncoupling by Catherine Woodward Thomas. If you're watching my videos and trying to learn from them, that's one thing. I'm learning too late about some of these really good books that could have really helped, and I let the car make the left turn, and I almost took over for it, even though it's doing a great job. And it actually a lot of times will do good left turns when it's got a left turn arrow and everything else. It's doing good. Anyways, we didn't listen to that book. We listened to Too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay, and I can't tell you the author of that one off the top of my head. We're talking a year and 3/4 ago when we spent some time reading it semi together. We couldn't get our paces together to actually talk about it every day, but it's a really good book about relationship ambivalence and trying to figure out whether you should stay or whether you should leave. And we did that, and throughout the book, most of the time I'm thinking, it's not so bad, we should stay together. It's not so bad, we should stay together. And I think she kind of was in on that too, but at the same time, she's made a decision to leave, and she wants me to change a few things, and I don't know. Still, this is hindsight from what the law has imposed upon me that's extremely unfair, because if you want to have a breakup, you want to take the commitment out of marriage and make it so you're just having a relationship that you can break up whenever you want. Basically, no fault, no lawyers. We didn't have any fault, so I believe we should have no lawyers. The law needs fixed. For good, healthy people trying to go through a difficult time, you should not have lawyers throwing gas on the fire or giving somebody a lot more power than they deserve. And quite honestly, the laws, they give the power to the person that wants out of the relationship, and the power, I don't know, they can give some very unfair financial power. So anyway, some of the point that I want to make is, we didn't go into this completely lightly, and we tried to be adults about it, and I thought we were going to be adult about it. A couple negative, I'm trying to stay as positive as I can too, because we went through that book and I missed a couple parts at the end. I was on the ambivalent side of we need to stay together reading this book, and maybe I didn't listen quite well enough to know what she wanted. I think pretty much, she felt like she got something out of the book too. And actually, I think it was better than our marriage counseling, if I didn't already say that. Maybe I shouldn't be supervising my car driving at the same time, because it's a little bit harder for me to keep my thought. Because now we got a car on the right that we got to get over, and actually it did a very good job. But what's it doing here? I got to concentrate here. We're making a smart right turn, probably doing it smarter than I would have done it. And we're looking into the sun now, which is really fun. We'll see how well the car does driving into the sun. Probably almost feel more confident than I did. Now we're going to do a left turn. Sorry for the distractions here. Well, hopefully they're not too long. If they're going to be too long, I'm looking right into the sun. Anyway, we got through the book, I guess, and she kept pressing forward for the divorce. A couple things she did wrong during this time. I'm sorry, Heather. I'm going to tell you, you did a few things wrong, and one, she hired a lawyer and kind of was a little deceitful about it, which for the first time I could tell that she was kind of lying to me. Go, car, go. Gotta go. Go. And she brought me in front of him to, again, I think it's like she wanted me to take her seriously, and I was being a dick and wasn't taking her seriously. I was kind of like, her ultimately is, and I still kind of strongly feel this way. So it's like what she wanted me to change wasn't super significant. A lot of things that I probably could have done in hindsight maybe should have done. But part of the reason I didn't is, she's not perfect too. And a couple little things I'd like her to work on to better herself as well. They weren't stuff make problems. I'm not trying to convince her to do anything that's bad. I'm trying to help her better herself and better her life with the things I kind of wanted her to change. I wanted her to, try to make a couple friends, not be so introverted and closed in on me, and which is quite the opposite of what bad husbands that are controlling and manipulative do. That was like one of my main things is I wanted a little bit more space in the relationship, and she wanted me to be cleaner and neater. It's really basically that's it. And she didn't want me to travel as much in the winter, and I wanted her to travel with me. So I mean, it's really, really small crap that's got us into this. There's probably it's way more complicated. I mean, there's a couple other, but I mean, if you actually quiz her on what she's really upset with me as most is that, I'm a little bit too much of a hoarder, and I'm not clean and organized like I wish I was. And I've gotten even worse since she's left, with the stress of the undercurrent that's in my life, because the attorneys are throwing tons of gasoline on my fire. I mean, on my stress. It's like, that's why I'm not as mad at her as a lot of other people are, because I'm impressed with all the effort she did to find a job near her parents, and make all the plans to do the moving and move her nursing license and all that kind of stuff. I mean, she did that, and I sat there hoping that she was going to change her mind. And so, but at the same time, I was kind of like, I was feeling smothered. I was feeling controlled and manipulated in the relationship too. And if she didn't want to look at the problems I was feeling in the relationship, then I was like, fine, go ahead and go. I thought she would treat me fair in a divorce. And then, I mean, that's when the real kicker kicked in. And sometimes you need a little space to realize what you're missing too. And that took a month after she moved out for me to start to feel that. Well, I don't know. So I'm tangenting way too much, and this is probably too much of a long video, and no one will probably want to watch it, but whatever. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. I'm not here to make anybody watch my stuff. And I'm telling you, the car's doing a really freaking good job. I haven't had a scary icky feeling while I'm supervising it. And that's one thing on the Tesla side of things. If you're riding with a teenage driver driving you through a mediocre sized city like Cleveland on the streets, making left and right turns and everything else, and you're sitting in the passenger seat, all you can do is just be scared and hope that the teenage driver does the right things. And you can kind of tell them, watch out for this and watch out for that. And the car, it won't listen to you if you talk to it. But if you don't like what it's doing, you just grab the wheel and take over, or hit the brake or hit the gas. I mean, you got complete control to instantly take over. There is a little bit of just making a nice right turn for me right now, and changing lanes to get into the center lane. And I mean, this is stuff that, I mean, we're back in Cleveland, and if you want to go back 15 years when I was just meeting my wife, or 16 years, what was it, 2010, so I guess 15 years ago was the first winter. My wife was still living in Cleveland Heights, and I was coming up here to see her, and we were driving on these roads. I'd help her drive her to work. I would struggle to make these turns. And the car's doing such a great job. So, there's a lot of emotional stress that goes through the divorce process. And, I'm feeling it right at this moment, honestly. Because I'm just thinking about, I'd go up there and drive her to work, because I was seasonably employed, because I installed above ground pools, and, I had my winters for free. And before I met her, I was traveling in the winter. The 2 years before I met her, I was doing a lot of good stuff, and enjoying my life, and getting out of Ohio for the winter with the seasonal defective disorder that I truly believe that I have, and I think it's kind of real, and kind of what put me in a good place in my life, 16 years ago or whatever, was getting out of Ohio in the winter. And I didn't realize how easy it was for me to do. And then, then I met her and got married, and I started staying here in the winter. But, she was, when it was good, she was, I don't know. I mean, she would help mask the depression through the winter. But and we would travel together some in the winter for the first few years. And then, you know, like towards the end, I was ready to be my self-funded bum and everything. I wanted to start traveling more in the winter, and that's part of what's craziness of why we end up splitting up, if you want to get into the crazy details. But I'm not getting to my points very quick. The marriage was failing, and we lived together through the summer. And you know, one of the things that that's where I changed. One of the things she did wrong is, or maybe I did wrong because I didn't realize that I'm supposed to be taking her seriously. She hired her lawyer because she wanted a second opinion, and I guess she was learning how bad she could really screw me, and because she's mad that I'm not taking her serious enough. I don't know. And you know, I guess this guy was, and honestly, rightfully so, because the law is unjust and unfair, and you know, I'm saying it over and over again. So, and I didn't know. I had no idea. Yeah, maybe. Shit. Sometime I need to take it and make these more pointed. But for right now, this is what you're going to get. Because when I went in to see him, and I know I tangented off. Oh my gosh. Now we got to get in a right lane, and we got like solid traffic all around us. And what it's watching, it's trying to get over in the right lane in the middle of an intersection, and I might have to help it. We'll see what it's doing. This is, yeah, I give it a little accelerator pedal there. We needed to turn right there. What's it gonna do? It's gonna say, oh crap, you didn't turn right there. We're still, it's doing, I'm gonna have to take over. But it's rerouted us, picked us a different way. I mean, this is crazy complicated driving, and all right, maybe I guess this is more of a video on what I'm driving through this yellow light. And turn the autopilot back on. See what it does. I mean, that wasn't a very bad detour anyways. That might have been the easier way to handle the traffic situation. We got no traffic here. All right. I don't know. I'm almost to where I'm going to, so I'm going to just pause it till I get there.